Hello and welcome to this session on Price Optimizer. My name is Michel. This is Vlad. That's Nordine, and we are the team, the founders. Our business venture is called Twister, your price optimizer. And let me start with a quick vision statement. What do? We help our customers find the best online travel deals by twisting price discrimination. How does that work? Let me start with a short story. Back in October, I was attending one of the courses in San Francisco, and I had to book my flight, San Francisco, Paris. The cheapest flight I could find on all travel searches was around 3,000 euros. I didn't purchase it. A couple of days later, I borrowed Vlad's laptop, which has a VPN configured for Ukraine. Same search, same flight, 300 euros. That's 2,700 euros price difference. So based on this huge price discrimination, we try to understand the pain by deconstructing the problem. And we realized that price discrimination exists in every layer of the industry, whether the airlines, whether the online travel agents, OTAs, or the meta search engines, they all play with the price discrimination. So whenever a user makes a search, he will always receive a price that's based on his willingness to pay, which is related to his user profile. And his user profile is an aggregation of different variables that we call discrimination factors. One of the most commons are the device. If you're booking your flight from the latest iPhone, the system might think you have a high willingness to pay. You'll pay more. If you're, for example, location, if you're trying to book from an airport Wi-Fi, the system might think that you are on a rush, you have high willingness to pay, you pay more. Currency, language, search history. If in your search history you're looking for a Maserati or some luxury diamonds, you're going to pay more. So based on this, we try to come up with a solution to use the price discrimination for the opposite purpose, to push the prices down. So we applied it on my sister, Marie, who was planning on attending my graduation ceremony, and she needed to fly from Paris to Singapore. 3 tickets for her family. The cheapest she can find was around $4,800. She believed this is the lowest price. We designed the algorithm to compare 3 variables, your location, the device you're using, and the bucket purchase, and we use 2 other profiles. Mutually exclusive, unrelated, they don't know each other. Based on this prototype, if Marie could actually change her IP address from Cyprus, where she sits, to Lebanon, she can save $761 US. Aggregating this optimization, we saved $1,000 of her trip. That's 21%. So we compared 3 profiles, 3 variables, and we saved 21%. Twister will compare millions of user profiles with dozens of variables to push the price down so that we allow our customers to always purchase at the lowest price regardless of their profiles. The innovation lies here. Today, the system works as follows. It's a one-to-one request. A user sends a request to the server, to the OTA. He receives the price back based on his willingness to pay. That's one-to-one. The users are fragmented and segmented. Twister will unite, will bring all these user profiles in a cloud so that every request that comes to Twister, based on proprietary algorithm and special routing mechanisms, we'll be able to design the best set of variables to go to the OTA and bring the lowest price. Now, when we look at the ecosystem of the industry, you realize that why Skyscanner or Kayak, one of these meta search engines, cannot wake up one day and do the same. Well, they can't. Because today, the industry is as follows. The airlines give 100 tickets to the online travel agents and tell them, sell these on your UK website only. OTAs put them on their website, Expedia or Orbit, and put them on Skyscanner, but Skyscanner also has a restriction on point of sale. So a Skyscanner can only send it on a UK website. So if you see, there is, based on contractual agreements, the inventory is locked by the service provider. They control everything. Where do we fit? Twister will be able to create that layer that's independent of the revenue models of the industry so that we be able to lower the price regardless of the profiles and regardless of any contractual agreements with the industry. We don't depend on their revenues. We're not locked by revenues. We're not locked by inventories. We're not creating magic here. We're just unlocking the mechanisms of the industry to bring access and transparency and give the power to the consumers. From market potential, The online travel industry is estimated at $600 billion a year, driven by 12% growth in the last 3 years, and an expected 10% compounded growth till 2020. The US market is the largest, $200 billion US, but it's not only the largest, it's actually the one that presents the highest discrimination and the highest potential of savings to our customers. We estimate that every third transaction made online is discriminated, and every discrimination represents 20% of the original price. Looking at the US market, we estimate that out of the $200 billion, $13.2 billion US is generated revenue only from price discrimination. And this will be our first addressable market and our testing playground. From a revenue model, we have multiple options. We map them based on 2 criteria, the growth and the business risk. So for example, if you take the top left, if we launch it as free, we have the highest potential for growth. We are completely disruptive, and we don't depend on any partnerships in the industry. So it has the highest growth, lowest risk. Other revenue models could be freemium app, but we all don't like to pay for our app, so it might impact the growth. Other will be shared value, means we take a dynamic percentage of the savings we create to the customer, or pay-per-click, pay-per-acquisition, which requires partnership. So our focus on the go-to-market strategy is actually disrupting the system, growing, testing, which will be the best strategy to select the optimum revenue model. We're going to focus on growth, quality of the service, and efficiency. And then we have the flexibility to apply verticals to try different revenue streams. If you take, for example, from the financial projections, if we take the shared value concept for illustration purposes, 10% fixed fee, which is very conservative, we are very profitable, and actually our EBITDA is around 70%, which is much more profitable than any of the meta search engines so far. The most beautiful thing about this concept is that for the future, we can grow vertically and we can grow horizontally. Vertically meaning that the future, the trend of the online travel agency is multimodal, door-to-door arrangements. There's also a personalized travel advisor. We could also, if we create the decent growth, the industry will come talk to us for APIs, and we're able to become the lowest cost online travel agent. But the most interesting is that the horizontal growth, our algorithm can be applied on all e-commerce. That's $1 trillion business. Whether you're going to buy electronics, you're going to buy books, you're going to buy any type of product or service online, there's always price discrimination. And our algorithm is scalable to all the industry. From a funding perspective, with our own funds, we believe we can bring it online in 8 to 12 months. But with additional appropriate funding, we are confident to have the beta version ready in 3 to 4 months. And we plan on giving a private beta for all INSEADers only to test in the beginning before we put it on public. We believe we have the A team to drive this. We have Nordine, who's an all-time Cisco developer, senior architect. He's an IT freak sitting in San Francisco. Vlad, all-time management consultant, working for retails industry, and he's also an expert on e-commerce modeling. Myself, I have led all my career in business development and market penetrations. Thank you.
First question to Fontainebleau. I'll give it to you. And as soon as the team begins to answer, I will set the timer for 5 minutes.
You hear me now? Yep. So my question goes on the competitive play. So how would you see your competition with Google Play, Google Flight, and what do you think the other existing players will do for this kind of situation when this emerges?
Very good question. Thank you. We prepared for this. The case is very close to what Airbnb did with hotels. So the all things about inventory. this is a business model of revenues and inventory distribution inside. Google Flight is the same meta search engine as Kayak or Skyscanner. They have no advantage. That means it will be the same. So this is an industry. Service provider log inventory, go to OTA directly to the search, meta search or Google, Kayak, Skyscanner, to the Hopper, saving tools, all directly to the users. The problem is that the industry controlled by the service provider. The Google receive money from the service provider. They advertise only those who pay, and those who pay should follow the rules. We don't need the revenue stream. That's why we don't care actually what the Google will do in this case. They cannot create the same disruption. Otherwise, they destroy the revenue streams they have. And from IT point of view, if you're interested, maybe Nordine can add something.
Next question.
This is essentially a Tor model, a Tor search engine model, where you have multiple nodes providing information and opportunity for clients. What do you believe the incentive will be for travel agencies? Pick one like American Express, some of the largest global travel agencies and agents through which people often work. What is their incentive for utilizing this new tool?
Actually, they don't have an incentive. We disrupt their business, so we are competitors. And this is our innovation in the business model. We don't need them to be involved in our enterprise. So maybe later, when we have 20, 30, 40, 100 million users, I don't know, they will come to us. But on the first stage, first couple of years, we are very protected from their competitive actions.
The good thing is that a lot of INSEAD alumni in this space, right? Orbitz, Expedia, inundated with INSEAD MBAs who've been there for a long time. On the technology point, your technology seems to rely on spoofing IP addresses to a certain extent, which technology will evolve. You'll fight them, they'll fight you. But if I was the manufacturer or the OTA, I would put in place certain mechanisms to block the spoofing, which will prevent you from having a viable business model. So given where technology is, and I'm not a technologist, how do you prevent a innovation or evolution of technology to prevent your model from just dying overnight?
This is a very good question. So basically, of course, spoofing was one of the aspects we had in mind when developing this project. Here, basically, as the gentleman in Fontainebleau said, we are basically building the concept based on something called onion routing, which is basically something a kind of protocol that will mimic the IP spoofing, but the main problem, and we did it a lot into the prototypes we built, you can easily get blocked if you get the same IP address bombarding a specific server to get specific requests. And basically, the innovation we have brought into this model is that rather than selecting a unique IP address to go and make all the requests, we are spreading the request through all the network of users. And this is basically one of the main innovation regarding a Tor project, for example, or an IP spoofing project. We are spreading the demand across all the cloud of users that we are building. And based on that, we are not using one IP address to make a request, but multiple IP addresses and millions of IP addresses at the end, yes.
It's like Netflix, right? Netflix blocks me literally every 10 days, and I get a new IP address, and Netflix has new technology.
Yes.
How do you prevent that? Because I am out of Netflix 15 days a month.
Yeah, so you are out of Netflix mainly because you are using the same profile, the same user. In our case, we are using at the same time the power of the cloud, of the network. We have thousands of IP addresses available on the spot, on every single request. And this is basically what makes it different.
35 seconds, last question. Michael?
I really converge with some of the comments made by some of the judges there that if you're disrupting just one side of the market, you need to help the service providers too, because their incentive is to entrench and to disallow you. So I think you shouldn't be so disruptive that you get yourself locked out. This has been tried, with the Easy Cinema case that you may have done.
Yes, there is a scenario. It's a Hopper, which is a saving tool. They work only one discrimination point. It's inventory time. We have now 21. So we can adopt moderate disruption, go Hopper model.
That's time. Thank you very much.